Hello, dear readers. Welcome to a special story about a man whose life changed the world. His name was Siddhartha Gautama, but we know him as the Buddha. This story is written for you, someone who is learning English and loves a good tale. As you read, you'll follow Siddhartha's incredible journey and discover lessons that can inspire you in your own life. This story is simple but powerful, perfect for level 2 English learners. It's full of heart, hope, and wisdom. You'll meet Siddhartha as a young prince. Follow him as he searches for truth and see how he becomes the Buddha, a teacher of peace. The story feels human and real, with moments that touch the heart. So, grab a cup of tea, find a cozy spot, and let's begin the journey of Buddha. By the end, you'll not only improve your English, but also feel motivated to live with kindness and courage. Ready? Let's go. If you enjoy this story, please like and subscribe to our channel for more inspiring stories to help you learn English. A prince is born. Long ago, in a beautiful kingdom called Kapilavastu, in what is now Nepal, a baby was born. His name was Siddhartha Gautama. The year was around 563 BCE, and the kingdom was full of joy. Siddhartha's father, King Suddhodana, was a strong and kind ruler. His mother, Queen Maya, was gentle and wise. Everyone believed this baby was special. When Siddhartha was born, a wise man visited the palace. He looked at the baby and said, "This child will be great. He will either be a powerful king or a spiritual leader who helps the world." The king was thrilled but also worried. He wanted his son to be a king, not a spiritual leader. So, he decided to give Siddhartha everything a prince could want. Siddhartha grew up in a palace full of beauty. He had soft beds, delicious food, and colorful gardens. Servants brought him anything he asked for. He wore fine clothes made of silk. His father made sure Siddhartha never saw anything sad or painful. The king wanted his son to stay happy and never think about leaving the palace. As a boy, Siddhartha was curious. He loved to ask questions. "Why do the birds sing?" he asked his teachers. "Where does the river go?" His teachers smiled and answered, but they were told not to talk about suffering or death. Siddhartha was kind to everyone, even the servants. He had a warm heart and bright eyes that seemed to see more than others. By the time Siddhartha was a young man, he was everything a prince should be. He was tall, strong, and handsome. He was skilled with a bow and arrow and could ride horses better than anyone. People loved his gentle voice and kind smile. He married a beautiful princess named Yasodhara, and they had a son named Rahula. Life seemed perfect, but deep inside, Siddhartha felt something was missing. He had everything: riches, love, family, but he wasn't truly happy. Sometimes he sat alone in the garden, watching the flowers. He wondered, is this all there is to life? Why do I feel empty? One day, Siddhartha decided to see the world outside the palace. His father was nervous but allowed him to go, telling the servants to hide anything sad. Siddhartha rode in a chariot with his friend Channa. The streets were filled with people cheering for their prince. Siddhartha smiled, but then he saw something strange. An old man walked slowly, leaning on a stick. His face was wrinkled, and his back was bent. Siddhartha stared. "Channa, who is that?" he asked. Channa replied, "He is an old man, my prince. Everyone grows old." Siddhartha's heart felt heavy. "Will I grow old too?" he asked. Channa nodded. Siddhartha was quiet. He had never thought about aging before. On another trip, Siddhartha saw a sick man lying on the ground, groaning in pain. What is wrong with him? Siddhartha asked. He is sick, Channa said. Sickness can come to anyone. Siddhartha's eyes filled with tears. He didn't understand why people had to suffer. On a third trip, Siddhartha saw the worst thing yet. A group of people carried a body wrapped in cloth. What is that? He asked, his voice shaking. That is death, Channa said. All living things die one day. Siddhartha felt like the world had changed. How could life be so beautiful, but so painful? Siddhartha couldn't forget what he saw. Old age, sickness, and death haunted his thoughts. He loved his family, but he felt a fire inside him. He wanted to find a way to end suffering, not just for himself, but for everyone. One night, Siddhartha went on another trip outside the palace. This time, he saw a man sitting under a tree. The man wore simple robes and had a calm face. His eyes were peaceful, like still water. Who is he? Siddhartha asked. He is a monk, Channa said. He lives a simple life to find truth and peace. Siddhartha's heart raced. Maybe this was the answer. That night, Siddhartha made a hard choice. He decided to leave the palace and become a monk. He loved Yasodhara and Rahula, but he believed he had to find a way to help the world. He crept into their room and looked at them sleeping. His heart ached, but he whispered, I will return when I find the truth. Siddhartha cut his long hair and traded his silk clothes for simple robes. He left the palace in the dark, with only the stars to guide him. He was 29 years old, and his journey was just beginning. Siddhartha traveled far from home. He walked through forests, crossed rivers, and climbed mountains. He met many teachers and learned their ways. Some taught him to meditate, to sit still and focus his mind. Others taught him to live with little food or sleep. Siddhartha listened and practiced, but he still didn't find the truth. For 6 years, Siddhartha lived a very hard life. He ate almost nothing, sometimes just 1 grain of rice a day. His body became thin, and his ribs showed through his skin. He sat in the hot sun and cold rain, trying to control his mind and body. He thought, if I suffer like others, maybe I'll understand how to end suffering. But one day, Siddhartha felt weak and tired. He realized that starving himself wasn't the answer. It only made his body and mind weaker. He sat by a river, feeling lost. Then, a kind girl named Sujata passed by. She saw how thin he was and offered him a bowl of rice and milk. Siddhartha ate it slowly. The food gave him strength, and he smiled at Sujata. Thank you, he said. She smiled back. Siddhartha decided to find a middle way. Not too much luxury, like in the palace, and not too much suffering, like in the forest. He wanted balance. He found a quiet spot under a large tree, later called the Bodhi tree. He sat down, crossed his legs, and made a promise. I will not move until I find the truth. Siddhartha sat under the Bodhi tree for days and nights. He closed his eyes and focused his mind. He faced many challenges. Doubts came to him, whispering, you will fail. Fears tried to shake him, but Siddhartha stayed strong. He remembered his promise. As he meditated, Siddhartha began to understand life. He saw that suffering comes from wanting things too much, from anger, and from not understanding the truth. He realized that everything changes: people, places, even feelings. He saw that to end suffering, one must let go of selfish desires and live with kindness and wisdom. On the night of a full moon, after 49 days, Siddhartha's mind became clear like a still lake. He understood the truth about life and suffering. He felt a deep peace he had never known. At that moment, he became the Buddha, which means the awakened one. He was 35 years old. The Buddha could have stayed under the tree, enjoying his peace, but he chose to share what he learned. He wanted to help others find the same freedom from suffering. He stood up, his face glowing with calm, and began his new journey. The Buddha walked to a place called Sarnath, near the city of Varanasi. There, he met 5 men he had known from his days of suffering. At first, they didn't trust him because he had stopped starving himself. But when they saw his peaceful face, they listened. The Buddha taught them about the 4 noble truths. First, life has suffering. Second, suffering comes from wanting things too much. Third, we can end suffering. Fourth, the way to end suffering is to follow the Eightfold Path, a guide to living with kindness, honesty, and a clear mind. The 5 men became his first followers. They called him teacher and spread his message. The Buddha traveled across India for 45 years, teaching everyone: kings, farmers, men, women, rich, and poor. He spoke simply so all could understand. He said, "Be kind to others. Live simply. Look inside yourself to find peace." People loved the Buddha's words. His teachings, called the Dharma, gave them hope. He started a community called the Sangha, where monks and nuns lived together to learn and help others. Even his wife, Yesodhara, and son, Rahula, joined the Sangha when he returned to Kapilavastu. They forgave him for leaving and followed his path. The Buddha grew old, but he never stopped teaching. At 80 years old, he became weak. He knew his time was near. He lay down between 2 trees in a place called Kushinagar. His followers gathered around, crying. But the Buddha smiled and said, "Do not cry. Everything changes. Follow the teachings, and you will find peace." He reminded them to be their own light, to find truth within themselves. Then, with a calm heart, the Buddha closed his eyes and passed away. His body was gone, but his teachings lived on. Today, millions of people follow the Buddha's teachings. His words about kindness, peace, and understanding still guide us. The story of Siddhartha Gautama shows us that one person can make a difference. He was a prince who gave up everything, faced hardships, and found a way to help the world. As you finish this story, think about your own journey. Like Siddhartha, you can be curious, brave, and kind. You can face challenges and find your own truth. Learning English is part of your journey, and stories like this can help you grow, not just in language, but in heart. Thank you for reading The Journey of Buddha. May his story inspire you to live with courage and love. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories to help you learn and grow.